Have you ever wondered about the process of actually manufacturing a product? This fitness company went from prototype to scale manufacturing with just 5 employees. We're bringing you their step-by-step playbook on this week's episode of Startup Savant, or TLDL. What is Frame?
Frame is the first digitally connected Pilates reformer.
That is a nice and tidy answer. So let's go back to the beginning and let's try to paint a picture together, because I think that this is one of the only physical product companies that we've had on the show, and based on just the size and complexity and everything else that goes into the reformer, I think that if we go deep on this manufacturing process, we're going to be able to really pull out a lot of helpful bits for people that want to also, go into some sort of physical product manufacturing, whether it's as complicated as a reformer or, as not complicated as a kitchen spatula. So let's try to paint this picture together. Let's walk through the process. And I know, Will, there are so many details that are going to be, painted over in this case, but the big points kind of in the process of light bulb moment to the frame reformer landing on your customer's doorstep. How did this process start? And then let's walk through it as close to step by step as we can.
The way we tackled it, and I think we tackled it in a very expeditious and efficient way. Manufacturing, to simplify it so that it's digestible, you have prototyping phases. You have a design. You design something, you understand what you want to see from a functionality perspective. Once you've solidified what you want from a functionality perspective, you then think about the aesthetics as all encompassed in design, and then you start the prototyping.
So that design, is that penciled on the back of a napkin, or
like an industrial design? Or
the preliminary, you have an idea of what you want. I'm not a great artist, so my sketches wouldn't look anything like the actual.
She's not a great artist.
The actual renders, which is the earlier stages of design. So I'm highly verbal. I'm a verbal being. So I articulated exactly what I wanted, how I wanted it to function. The functionality component of a design is the most important thing. You can fine tune aesthetics, obviously very important to the consumer and also to myself, but it's all about the functionality. And there was novel functions, things that I wanted to do that didn't exist yet. So we had to understand how we could create the function. And then you move into rapid prototyping.
If you're a startup, if you're a company, if you are going to be building, a physical product, these are the steps that you're going to have to go through. So it's really interesting to hear, the actual story of what actually happened with y'all. So let me give it back to you. We had a napkin drawing that was bad art. I definitely heard that part. And then that was sent to an industrial designer. And then once you worked with the industrial designer to create, kind of the CAD mock-up, you went to an engineer and an actual manufacturer to create the rapid prototypes, and then the working prototypes. So pick it up from there.
Lee?
We actually prototyped with a company out of Portland initially that they had their focus in snowboards.
Okay.
We were working with wood veneer. So it's also allocating and finding the right fit in the stage that you're at. For instance, our current manufacturer, which also happens to be one of our lead investors, extremely important in the world of fitness and fitness equipment, as Lee had mentioned earlier, as one of the largest manufacturers of fitness equipment. Before we even got there, before we even raising, a lot of the capital, our seed, we still had to create functional and rapid prototypes. And we did a lot of that initial work domestically because it allowed us to move quickly. So we were in Portland, Oregon, doing our initial first 3 prototypes. And
then we sent them to our manufacturer, to take a look at it and basically take it apart and rebuild it.
They had to reverse engineer and say, okay, is this all mass manufacturable?
Okay, so then we're basically at the point where, the manufacturer who's going to be building, a bunch of these things has figured out the design. They've worked with the engineers. Everything is kind of like ready to go at that manufacturing level. Then, I mean, do you decide to then just, basically print off 1,000 of these things, or how do you decide then how many you're going to make, and maybe what are the other decisions that are kind of going into that at
Oh,
that stage?
I'll answer this for a moment. So, you don't want to jump in right away into making 1,000, because at this point, and where our conversation left was that we have finalized a design. There's been beta testing in factory and there's stress testing, but now we actually want to see it in a controlled setting, but still in market. So we
Sure.
made about 20 final designs. We had instructors all around the world trying them. We shot a lot of content with our instructors on them. We've done over 100 demos with top editors in LA and New York, and they've demoed the product. So we've had a lot of
Feedback.
not only feedback, but actual physical testing of the reformer before we actually decided, okay, this is the design. We think we've done enough work where we are ready to actually put it on an assembly line, approve it, and move into manufacturing. So they were all like handmade prior, even though it is the final design. It's not like a big mass manufactured run.
Once we did our initial pre-order, that's how we decided how many we were going to manufacture. Now, we had an amount that we wanted to hit, but we surpassed that.
Nice.
Which was
Congratulations.
really exciting. Thank you. And for a pre-order on a product at our price point, it was really exciting to see. The appetite that was involved also allowed us for that aha moment where we thought we had a product that, is going to take off. So
without any marketing, we sold 500 pre-orders, and then we were very comfortable saying we can move into our first manufacturing run of 500, because not dissimilar to like a Tesla model, we had already pre-ordered.
Sure.
So a lot of companies do the opposite. They go into a manufacturing run, and let's say they pre-order 500. Now 500 arrives, and there's a certain amount of pressure being applied that you have this inventory. You don't want it to be stagnant inventory, and you must sell them.
Yeah, and I think that's the smart thing, because if you make it and then nobody wants it, then you're sitting on.
Our proof of concept was solidified, and at the onset of us launching as a public facing company.